say, hey guys, it's Klaus. Hey, you know, all tanks in this game have a different role, right? I mean, there's spotters, there's snipers, there's brawlers, right? There's all different kinds. Some tanks have good armor, some tanks have accurate guns. Let's watch Creon here from the Cirque clan. Shout out to you guys in the Cirque clan. Drive his KV-3. And he's driving a KV-3, a heavy tank, top tier. And he knows what his role is, you know, because this game is built upon different tanks having different roles. So obviously, in a big Russian heavy tank, one of the big super heavies going down the super heavy line, he has a lot of armor. He's fairly slow, and he has a really hard-hitting but fairly inaccurate gun, right? So obviously, he knows that his role in this game is to be a sniper. And that's what he's going to do. He's going to move to where the heavy tanks should in this on this map, and that is in the center. You would think that some spotters would move into this position, but no, the spotters are not moving into this position because they know their role. There's the Cromwell. His role is to be beside the big heavy tank and get hit on the way up. No, he wanted to just keep him company while he was driving up there. And oh, look at that. Creon takes a shot on the move with this Russian sniper tank with the the sniper type gun. A hard-hitting Russian gun that, you know, has some stats that make it difficult to aim and shoot. He's got 2 hits so far. Okay, now he's in his sniping cubbyhole here. And he's moved into a position where the heavy tank can use its accurate sniping gun and rain terror down on the enemies. And he bounced on the side of a... I don't even know what happened there, you know, because when you're playing one of these sniper tanks, sometimes the shells just disappear. Like, you shoot and you're not really sure what happens. They kind of go in the direction you're shooting and then they disappear. It's part of the mechanic. There you go. Okay. After 3 tries, it works out. Okay. So let's get going here. The different roles of the different tanks. Because of the way the game is designed, you see, there's such a disparity in the types of guns for different tanks. Like the big heavy tanks that with all the armor that should be fighting close in, you know. Their guns are not very accurate and they can't shoot at far distance. You know, the accuracy stat is much worse on these big Russian tanks. So you want to move into a position which negates that negative, right? You want to play this tank like a sniper. And then there are the Cromwells and the fast tanks that can move around, and their job is to keep the heavy tanks company while they're moving into their sniper position. And everyone else on the team, their job is to run around aimlessly and die quickly so that the sniper tank can have a really good game. And that's pretty much kind of summarizes all the different roles. You know, there's a couple of other roles, but we're not going to get into it and get too technical in this video. You can watch some other channels where they go into this in much more depth and try and explain things much more involved and go through the stats in much more detail so that you can learn the different aspects of these tanks. But on this channel we kind of just watch and observe, and you can see that the inaccuracy of the big heavy tank gun kind of forces you to take positions like this where you can shoot snap people on the move, and not really worry about your turret moving too much, or about really waiting for that circle. They call it the reticle. There's a statistic that goes with it. I think for this one it's 3.9 seconds or something for the aiming reticle to get small so that you have a higher chance of hitting. Well, depending on the situation, you don't really necessarily have to follow every single stat that you read. And some of these sniper tanks, like the KV-3, you can kind of just swing the turret over your shoulder and snap, and hit someone for 400. So, rightly so, Creole here has moved into this sniper position where he can help his team best by using the strengths and the characteristics and aspects of his tank to basically help his team win. So, And the rest of his team, they're slowly doing what they're supposed to. They're going to slowly whittle away. Some of them have driven into the enemy cap, which is typically on the maps that you play. The enemy caps are in open areas. Open areas that are open enough and have cover 300 or 400 meters away, so that enemies can sit and wait till you go in the cap and then kill you. So obviously his teammates are moving into areas like that where they can get killed quickly. And here he's trying to help his teammate, which is rightfully so, getting in the way, because he knows he has some assistance behind him. So the best position for him to go would be between his teammate, who is trying to help him, and the enemy that he's trying to fight, you see, because if he gets in the way, it would make it harder for his teammate to help him, which is part of the strategy. You don't want to move to the side, like when you know that you have a teammate, for instance, your teammate's on the left and you're fighting someone. It would be foolish to move to the right so that your teammate could have a shot as well. You want to move to the left there and get in the way and kind of make it difficult for him and try and hog the damage yourself. And, sometimes you die, but you know that's part of the game. So all in all, it's just the different roles that the different tanks have. That guy must have been playing a tank that is the get in the way role. You know, I want to get myself into trouble, then ping help and get in the way of someone that is trying to help me. You know, that's one role that needs to be filled. You know, someone's got to do it. So let's just keep watching here, and as the tanks fulfill their roles during this game, we will see how it unfolds. So our super heavy tank sniper is now moving into a position here where he can continue to help his team. There's also a couple of tanks on his team at the back whose role is to camp at base, and they're doing that effectively. They are still usually the tanks that have the role of camping at base survive the longest. So a lot of people want to fulfill that role, and rightly so. You know, why would you want to be like the Cromwell, follow the super heavy slowly and get killed at the beginning? I mean, someone's got to do that too, but you know, that's not the most fun thing. The camping at the base role, that's more satisfying for some players. So you get a lot of those. So let's watch this. The enemy tank there is also in the heavy tank. His role is to wait till the KV-3 is aimed and then drive in front of the gun roll is what he's waiting for. So let's just wait for that to happen. The KV-3 here is going to side scrape and be aimed, so that guy should drive in front of the gun. That's good job. That's you know, everyone has to fulfill their part. It's like an ecosystem. One cannot survive without the other. You need the whole ecosystem working properly. And in the World of Tanks ecosystem, every role has its place. And now the T-3485M, he knows his role is to not do damage but be as annoying as possible and keep tracking him without doing damage. And he's successfully doing that. You can see every 3 seconds he's successfully tracking him and being annoying. Oh, but our KV-3 is repaired. Okay. So what about the campers? How are they doing? They're going to survive till the end. They're doing pretty good. They're waiting at the base till the end of the game roll. And let's see our super heavy tank do the sniping roll. Good job, good job. And the KV, what is that guy? The T-3485 is continuing to be annoying. So let's just follow through here. I mean, you know, it takes patience to learn the different roles. The campers are doing a good job. The sniper's doing a good job. Yeah, everything's balanced. The ecosystem is balanced. Now let's watch our KV. Let's just watch the game and enjoy. He's by himself now, is he? He's by himself versus 4 enemies. Okay, so hopefully these enemies follow the script, and it would be really good for them to approach the heavy tank one at a time. A lot of people don't get this at the beginning when they're noobs. You know, they all kind of charge forward together. But if these guys could slowly approach one at a time, it would, you know, fulfill their role better. And there's, okay, one of them. So one of them has come. There's 3 left. They should take turns here. So whose turn would it be next? The really fast guy, the T-71 with the autoloader, he hasn't been seen the whole game. He knows that he can do too much damage at a time. You know, with the burst damage of the auto-loading gun, he gets 6 or 7 or 8 shots or whatever it is. He doesn't want to come in right away. He wants to wait, you know, for the opportune moment to pounce, usually at the end of the game. He wants to stay hidden as long as he can. He doesn't want to like go in there and waste all his damage right at the beginning. So okay, so now it's the enemy artillery's turn, and he knows his role is to move up to spot for his teammates and die. Good job. And hopefully the next two guys know their roles. There's the annoying man with the gun that can't penetrate the KV-3, and the tank that can do all the damage that is yet to be seen. Let's see who comes next. Oh, okay, it's the annoying tank. And he's continuing to be annoying. It's always also a good idea when you see a big heavy like this that's pointed a certain way to approach him from the front so that he doesn't have to take so long to turn his turret. You see, you want to approach him in the direction that his gun is facing, because I mean, if you drive behind him, the poor guy, he has to like turn all the way around or whip the turret all the way around. You know, you don't want to do that. And when there's two of you versus one guy, you want to make sure that you don't both go in at the same time and approach him from the direction his gun is not facing. You don't want to do that because it just would ruin his day, you know, especially when he turns around and lets you see his ass. If your role is to be annoying, you don't want to take that shot at his ass. It's just... it takes a lot of practice for everyone to figure out what their role is, and thank heavens in this game most people do figure it out, and we get to see these epic entertaining replays like of this sniper KV-3 fulfilling his role with enemies that fulfill theirs. Yeah, all right, that's basically the intro. I guess now we're going to watch the game, which is well underway here, and everyone's doing their part. And our KV-3 is, he's having a little trouble now because he is no longer sniping. Now he's got to fight close in, which is harder for this big super heavy tank. Funny enough, with how slow the turret turns and how slow the lumbering big tank is, it's actually harder to fight when your enemy is closer in this thing than when they're far away. And you know, that's why a lot of people that play the big super Russian heavy tanks like to snipe, because it makes it easier, and that's the way it is. So let him, he's going to just fumble around here and get himself into a bushy location. Oh, and one of the guys is in the cap. So his role now is to sit very still when he's spotted so that the KV-3 can fully aim. And if he knows that the KV-3 shot him and he's bounced the shot, is to keep sitting as still as possible, you know, and try not to move too much, because what's the chance he's going to get hit again? I guess the chance is pretty high. Okay, well the game is almost over. And so the T-71 with the big burst damage and the auto loader could clip the KV-3 now, but that would be unsportsmanlike. It truly unsportsmanlike. And to use his speed and maneuverability to get behind the KV-3 would be, you know, like, that would be just ridiculous. I mean, think about it. You're in a T-71, a fast little tank with an autoloader. Why would you want to drive behind a super heavy? That would just be, you know, you'd feel bad. That would ruin his day, and you wouldn't be able to, you know, why not just sit kind of still in front of his gun and ram him? You know, why not do that? And use reverse, because reverse is quite a bit slower than forward. You know, and just wave forward and back in front of the tank is what he should do. And he's fulfilling his role majestically and doing a jolly good job. And this should be over quickly. If our KV-3, you know, he's not sniping now, so he's having trouble because he's in a super heavy. It's, you know, he's out of his element here. But if you just squish this little prick, and eventually things work out. There you go. All the roles have been fulfilled. Another wonderful game highlighting the skills and the different roles of different tanks in this game, and how, you know, how it should work out. And he lost some credits because, you know, the role of a tank when you win and carry your team is to lose credits. And everything's copacetic. Yeah, you know. Yeah, hope you enjoyed that. That was certainly enlightening for me.